I might make this a weekly or a bi-weekly video series where I discuss which NASCAR Cup Series playoff drivers are trending up, which ones are trending down, and who's kind of just treading water. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Darlington Sunday night was a wild ride. The first time since any chase or playoff format was introduced that a non-playoff driver won the playoff opener. Lots of playoff drivers, some heavy favorites, ran into issues. That's what inspired me to make this video. Again, I'm not sure if I'll do this every week during the playoffs, but I want to look at every playoff driver and I will tell you guys whether they're on the right track, trending upwards, I like what I'm seeing, or if they're trending downwards. They've been struggling lately, something concerned me at Darlington. Who's trending down? And then, because I don't like to be all or nothing on this show, there is a nice middle ground. Drivers who I'm not quite sure how to assess just yet. I'm gonna do that for all 16 playoff drivers, beginning with Denny Hamlin. Why not? We'll just go in a random order. Denny Hamlin, he's trending upwards right now. Second place this most recent weekend at Darlington. Great way to open the playoffs. Going back to the end of the regular season, he's got 3 top 5s in his past 5 races, and he was running up front at Daytona until the rain hit and crashed everybody. And also keep in mind what tracks are coming up next. Kansas Speedway. Toyota dominated there in the spring. Denny Hamlin himself finished a very solid 4th. So Hamlin right now, things are looking up. Next, we'll get an easy one out of the way. Joey Logano currently leading the points plus 38. He's trending upwards as well. 6 straight top 12 finishes. They've been very consistent lately. Lots of good momentum going into these playoffs. And they've also led laps in the last 4 races. Finishing in the top 12 will be enough to get you through this first round. It might even be enough to get you through the second round, considering Logano has a good handful of playoff points to his credit. But leading all those laps, running up front, collecting stage points, contending for wins, that's what you have to do to make a deep, deep playoff run. Round of 8, get all the way to the championship 4, of course. Logano is trending in the right direction. Real quick, before we look at our next driver, I just want to throw up the playoff grid. I guess I should have done this before we started off with Denny Hamlin, but after Darlington, Joey Logano is leading the standings all the way at the bottom after that unfortunate fiery crash. Kevin Harvick is minus 13. Cindric, Dillon, Briscoe, and Harvick are currently the 4 on the outside looking in. We've got Kansas and then Bristol coming up in this first round. Still 2 more races to go. This leaderboard will shuffle quite a bit between now and then. Daniel Suarez currently the last guy in. Kyle Busch near the cut line. Chase Elliott only plus 14. He entered these playoffs as the points leader but crashed out at Darlington, so he's maybe in a little more precarious situation than he was expecting. Anyway, there are the playoff standings after Darlington. Next, let's talk about Chase Briscoe. This is an easy one as well. He is trending down, down, down. 0 top 10s in I don't know how many months at this point. They just don't have it. I thought he would be maybe a sleeper pick for Darlington, considering how good he'd been there in the Xfinity Series in the past, but they were no-shows. They ran well outside the top 10, then got caught up in a crash. That part wasn't their fault, but they weren't very fast before that. Currently 15th on the playoff grid. Yeah, trending down, unfortunately, for Chase Briscoe. Next, let's go with the defending champion, Kyle Larson. This may be my first sort of even pick. I'm not sure where to fall on Larson. He showed really good speed at Darlington. He recovered nicely to finish 12th. He probably would have finished higher than that, except I believe they had to pit a second time late because of a loose wheel to tighten a lug nut. But the reason he had to recover was because the team had yet another engine or electrical issue. And actually, I saw an article today where Larson said they still don't know exactly what went wrong at Darlington. Obviously, it wasn't terminal. The engine kept running, and they rallied from 3 laps down to finish 12th. Very respectable. That's the kind of grit that championship teams are made of. But all these technical difficulties do concern me. That's 2 weeks in a row. They had an engine issue, knocked them out of the race at Daytona the week before. So they gotta sort those out. If they can, I'm confident in Cliff Daniels, Kyle Larson, and that Hendrick team's ability to execute to get through these first couple of rounds. But they gotta avoid these technical difficulties. That's 2 weeks in a row. Next, let's go with Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain, I hate to say it, but he is trending down in a pretty big way. 0 top 10s his past 7 races. He went on a hot streak earlier this summer, top 5s and top 10s every single week, and then Pocono happened. Remember? Racing for the win late with Denny Hamlin. Hamlin kind of rubbed him up, Chastain into the wall, wrecked out. Ever since that race, Chastain has not finished in the top 10. So, I don't know. He's trending down. I think it's obvious. This is where I think Ross Chastain and Trackhouse's lack of playoff experience is going to start to show up. Chastain's had some pretty good speed in recent weeks. He was fast at Darlington this weekend. He led like the entire first stage at Michigan a few weeks back. But lately, for one reason or another, they have failed to get the finishes they deserve. And I can't help but look at Bristol in a couple weeks as a great opportunity for some of those other drivers to issue payback towards Ross. Payback that many have long vowed to dish out. They may not, but it has me a little concerned. Right now, Chastain, he's trending down. Let's talk about his teammate Daniel Suarez next. I'm just gonna go even. I was very impressed by Suarez's speed this past weekend at Darlington. He started last after failing inspection. He drove all the way up to 5th, 4th place by the end of stage 2, early stage 3. He ran with the big dogs. I don't think he had enough to go up and pass Kyle Busch or Martin Truex Jr., but like how Eric Jones held off Hamlin for the win, if Daniel Suarez had been in that position, I think he would have held off Hamlin for the win too. He was good enough. I was impressed by their speed. Unfortunately, Suarez finished 18th because, I just mentioned, young drivers, inexperienced drivers, at least when it comes to racing in the playoffs, Suarez made a couple of mistakes. He hit the wall pretty hard, said it messed up the handling on his car, and then later he sped on pit road, completely ruined a top 5 or top 10 night. I know Suarez fans will say, oh, well, Christopher Bell roughed him up on that one move, that one pass. That's not what derailed Suarez's night. Yeah, that was a minor setback. He went from 4th to like 8th place, but it wasn't until a little ways after that he hit the wall, hurt the handling, and then sped on pit road. So ultimately, Suarez did his own day in, cost himself a good 10 or 15 points. I like Suarez, I like Chastain, I like Trackhouse, but they can't beat themselves. And unfortunately, Daniel Suarez did at Darlington. I'm going to say even though because he did show great speed. I'm 50-50 on William Byron as well. He led laps Sunday night, won the first stage, finished 8th, respectable. He has a 32-point cushion in the points. That's great. He probably would have finished a little better than 8th, but he was one of the drivers who pit early and got trapped a lap down by one of the late cautions. So yeah, still, I would say Byron is trending up, but this is Byron's first top 10 in like 11 weeks. And keep in mind, we were at Darlington, a track that Byron almost won at earlier this year. So I expected him to at least be decent this past weekend, and he was. I don't know. I need to see more than 1 week of speed. We haven't seen speed out of Byron all summer. I need to see him do it more than once. For now, I'm going to say 50-50. Let's go positive once again. Tyler Reddick, I have him trending up right now. Finished solidly in the top 5, 3rd this past weekend. Plus 23 in points. Look at what he's done lately. He was 7th at Watkins Glen. We know he's good at the road courses. He was 2nd at Daytona, pushed his teammate to the win, and 3rd at Darlington. 3 very different types of tracks, but RCR and Tyler Reddick have managed to get the result. So he's been good and consistent lately. Just stay out of trouble these next 2 weeks and you're moving on to the round of 12. I feel pretty good about Tyler Reddick's chances. Not much else to say. Ryan Blaney is a tough one. I almost had him trending down, but I know you guys would burn me alive in the comment section. So I'm going to say even. I'm going to say 50-50 on Blaney. He finished 13th. Okay, at Darlington. He's plus 20 in the points, so no reason to panic there. But I'm just not seeing anything special out of Blaney lately. He has 12 top 10s this year. That's pretty good. But only 2 of those have come in the past 8 races. I'm not going to say he limped into the playoffs, but he was barely holding off Martin Truex Jr. those last few weeks. He snuck in, remember, by 3 points. He was top 5 at Indy until he got spun at the end. He's been decent, but he's just not showing winning speed. Blaney's in position to get through this first round, maybe even through the second round, but if you want to make some real noise late round of 12 or into the round of 8, you gotta have winning speed, and we haven't seen that from Blaney, not for most of this summer. Kyle Busch, you guys are probably gonna disagree with me on this one, but I actually have Busch trending up. Believe it or not. Yes, I know he just blew a motor at Darlington and he's only plus like 8 in the standings. But before his engine blew up, he had top 2 speed. It was neck and neck between him and Martin Truex Jr. for the win. Busch was the fastest playoff driver. I think that says something, and I think things are looking up for Kyle Busch. Kansas this weekend, I'd love to be driving a Toyota at Kansas. Then Bristol, Busch's best track. I think he'll be fine. And one other thing, remember, last week he said he may be 7 to 10 days away from signing a deal for next season, so there's a chance that by the time the green flag flies at Kansas this Sunday, Kyle Busch will already know his situation for next year. And to me, that'll be a huge weight off his shoulders. I think that will present some clarity, some more focus. He can really aim all of his attention on contending for a championship this year, what will likely could possibly be his final year with Joe Gibbs Racing and or Toyota. I think that'll actually help Kyle Busch over the next couple weeks. So while, yes, he DNF'd this past weekend, he had speed, and I like what the next few weeks hold for Kyle Busch. So I have him actually trending up. One more Toyota driver to cover, let's get it out of the way. Christopher Bell, I also have him trending up. 3 top 10s in the last 4 races, not too bad. Now he hasn't led a lap since Michigan, but he still has more top 5s and more top 10s than any of his Joe Gibbs Racing teammates. He's been very consistent, and I think that's all you need to do to get through this first round, maybe even through the second round. And he came out of the gate strong these playoffs with that 4th place run at Darlington Sunday. So right now I think Bell is trending up. I feel good. We've got just a few more to go. Next up, Alex Bowman. I'm not sure what to do with Bowman. I'm going to say, no, I feel like I've put a lot of guys 50-50 even. I need to stop being a fence sitter. I'm going to go bold on this one. Alex Bowman's trending down, in my opinion. I know he just finished 10th at Darlington, his first top 10 in a month, but Bowman has not led a single lap outside Daytona, a super speedway, since May. I'm happy he finished 10th. I'm happy he's plus 10 in a decent point situation. But kind of like Byron, who's also struggled over the past few months, I need to see him do it more than once. I look at guys behind him in points like Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez, maybe even Kevin Harvick, who's a little further down, easily could jump Bowman over the next couple of weeks, in my opinion. I wouldn't even rule out Austin Cindric. This was tough, but I need to see him do it more than once. And I'm sorry, 10th at Darlington? In a Hendrick car, that's fine, that's good, but that's not anything to get overly excited about. So to me, Bowman still trending down slightly. Austin Dillon, I don't really have huge expectations for him. I'm going to say he's 50-50. I'm going to say he's even. He spent time a lap down at Darlington, struggled to find the handle, finished 17th. He's only 4 points below the cut line. He does have 5 straight top 20 finishes, but I don't think that's going to be good enough to get out of this first round. So he's just kind of there. I'm not sure how to score Austin Cindric either. 18th at Darlington, that's not good. Cindric's best streak was back in like June, July when he went 6 straight weeks finishing 13th or better. Unfortunately, and I had to double check the stat sheet to confirm, but all 5 of his top 5s this year have come either at road courses or super speedways. There are none of those in this first round. If he gets through this first round, I had him going to the round of 8 for a reason. Next round shapes up really well for him. But he's 2 points below the cut line right now, and I do not love these next 2 tracks for him, so we'll see. I'm going to say even for now, but things are a little murky. I was hoping for better at Darlington. Just a couple more. Kevin Harvick, currently last on the playoff grid, minus 13, but I think he's actually trending up. Look, Darlington was a fluke, and yes, it's put them in a deep points hole, but the speed is there. They won 2 races towards the end of the regular season. They had an issue on pit road where Harvick left before a wheel was tight, had to back up, had to start at the rear of the lead lap cars, drove his way back up into the top 10 before that fire broke out. So they've had speed. Harvick, Rodney Childers are veterans. They know how to maneuver these championship rounds. I think Harvick is trending up just because I think their cars are as fast as they've been in 2 years. So that counts for something, especially in a format where you win a race, and Harvick was close to winning Bristol last year, remember that? You're through to the next round. I still think Harvick is trending up, even though his point situation is bleak. The cars are fast, the driver is determined. Watch out for Harvick. I'm just saying. Lastly, we'll end with Chase Elliott. Came into the playoffs as the points leader. I don't know what to do with him, man. These Hendrick drivers are tough to judge. I'll start him in the middle, but I may change my opinion as we go here. So Chase Elliott is still plus 14. That's despite finishing last. Did he finish last at Darlington? To me, Darlington was probably the worst race of the season for that entire 9 team. They missed it in qualifying, whatever the reason. They qualified 23rd. That's no bueno. Then in the race, Chase was able to meander his way up close to the top 10. He was running like 12th or 13th when he just lost it. Just a couple laps to go in the first stage. Spins out all by himself, hits the wall, collects Chase Briscoe. He's out. Missed it in qualifying, didn't seem to have great speed on Sunday, then the driver makes a bad mistake before they ever had a chance to collect any sort of stage points. He's lucky to be plus 14 and not much closer to the cut line. He's using up a lot of his regular season championship points. But that is why I think I'm going to keep Chase Elliott even. He just had his worst race of the year, potentially, and yet he's still plus 14. I have faith in Chase Elliott and Alan Gustafson. It's not the pressure getting to them. They've been to the championship for 2 years in a row. They know what they're doing at this time of year. Kind of like how Byron and Bowman had unusually good runs at Darlington this weekend based on their recent performance. Darlington was an unusually bad performance for Chase Elliott. He had a ton of momentum coming into these playoffs before this weekend. I don't think Darlington's going to ruin all that. So I can't have Elliott trending up because he lost a bunch of points this weekend, but I'm not going to say he's trending down either. I think he's still one of, if not the top championship favorites at this point. He's just got to mind his P's and Q's, be a little more careful at Kansas and Bristol the next couple of weeks. And just like that, we're done. Let me know down in the comment section below if you agree with my assessment of your favorite driver or if you disagree, and explain to me why. Maybe I missed a key detail that's worth noting. That is gonna do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss any future content. And as always, a big thank you to my Patreon supporters as well. Couldn't do this show without your very generous support. We'll be back later this week, more news to talk about for sure. This was just kind of a fun, analytical episode, if you will. I feel like that's giving myself way too much credit. Just something fun that, again, we might do every other week, a few times during these playoffs. I had a good time doing it. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see more. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.